Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GBYWN Australia podcast. This is part 2 of my interview with the Cannibal Dan Zeplin. And right where we left off, Dan, we were in the middle of your ICWS career. You've just recaptured the heavyweight championship of yours truly at Halloween Hell 2010. So we'll be going off from there, Dan.
Yeah, me. I did that. Me.
You did that.
Dan Zeplin. Cannibal. Except I wasn't the Cannibal back then.
But
I'm the Cannibal now.
There's another organisation you've got to deal with now, because this is where SPWS enters the fold. Once again, there's been a little bit of here and there between you guys all year, but now finally the feud is on. What's it like working with Ice and Chaos after the whole XCW thing, and obviously winning the SPWS title in that huge, I believe it was a Falls Count Anywhere match with Dark Ice?
That's the one. Yeah. It was absolutely amazing to be working with those guys. We were pretty good friends by then. We, have music tastes in common. We like the same sort of shit, everything like that.
Yeah.
So we were good friends by then, and as I said in the last podcast, the last part of it, they're both big teddy bears to wrestle. Even in hardcore matches, they're so much fun to wrestle. I was never worried about, copping a massive chair to the head or whatever. It was just so much fun. I loved working with those guys back then. It was good fun, and winning the title. That was really good as well.
I remember I said to you, technically you're like a Triple Crown heavyweight champion.
Yeah,
You were GBYWN. We didn't even mention GBYWN earlier, but GBYWN Australian heavyweight champion, ICWS, SPWS, the Triple Crown champion.
Yeah,
which is a pretty cool thing to say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that basically happened because SPWS folded.
Yeah.
Or was in the process of, at least.
Yeah.
So we sort of amalgamated. Is that the correct word?
Yes, I think amalgamated.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
We'll go with it.
It sounds good. I sound intelligent. The SPWS Championship with the ICWS Championship? Yeah, that's correct. Which also was the GBYWN Australian Championship at the time, if I remember correctly.
ICWS had both, yeah.
It was sort of all three championships in one, which was held by me.
You did it, man. You did it.
Yeah.
You fucking did it.
Yeah.
The first show of 2011, you wrestled Mike Delcanho in a champion versus champion match. I don't think any titles are on the line here. It's just, I think Delcanho's on the way out. I believe after this he drops the title to Clint Marshall the following show.
Yeah.
But then he's off for pro wrestling, which doesn't last too long. But do you have memories of the first time you battled Mike Delcanho?
I really enjoyed wrestling Mike Delcanho, but I was also slightly wary at the same time because he was really into his technical stuff, which I could do at the time. I'm not so good with that now, but at the time I was good with that. But he also liked his, power stuff. He liked doing big moves, big slams and stuff like that.
Power bombs.
Yeah. I was okay with, but I just knew I was in for a big fight, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I knew I really had to be prepared. I had to plan with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We pulled off some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Me and Mike always worked really well together, I think.
Yeah.
We had great chemistry.
Yeah. So from there, we continue the feud between you and Killawatt Kaos. I believe after that champion versus champion match, SPWS put you through a table, leading to a non-title match at ICWS Roadhouse, which is, I don't know why that show was called Roadhouse, but I just love that name.
I think we were just not taking it less seriously, but sort of getting more into the yarding spirit, where show names didn't really matter, and we're having a bit more fun with it.
Yeah.
And obviously inspired by a Family Guy episode. We just went with that.
Okay, cool. So after Chaos gets the win over you, it's the first time an SPWS member actually beats you in a match.
Yeah.
That's leading towards a last man standing match at Bloodline the following month. But Roadhouse is significant for 2 debuts that took place that day. Three Dog finally came into the fold. Memories of a early Three Dog entrance into ICWS.
If I remember correctly, we didn't really talk too much before then, because he basically just came in through Mitch. I think us bookers sort of briefly talked to him, but yeah, it was basically organised through Mitch.
Okay. But at that time, maybe he was a bit shy.
Yeah. But yeah, he absolutely great guy. Really nice and everything.
To imagine Aaron being shy is quite...
Yeah, it is a bit weird, isn't it?
Because he's just so... I remember when I first got there, or when I came back.
Yeah.
And he was this funny dude that I didn't even know, but he was actually cracking so many jokes that we always laughed at.
Yeah. Everyone loves Aaron.
Yeah. And also the debut of Bambi.
Bambi.
Is,
oh yeah,
Letitia.
okay, yeah. I was thinking as a valet. I was like, who does she valet? But no, she was a wrestler.
She wasn't around too long. She just mainly had a few with
3
the master wrestlers.
shows, I think.
I believe she wrestled EQG, Destructor, and then EQG one more time.
Yeah, that's correct.
So you're EQG. So
yeah.
We haven't really spoke about EQG too much in this podcast because I wanted to focus on your Dan Zeplin career, but
Yeah.
You do wrestle a lot of people in their debut. I call EQG the ICWS Welcoming Committee.
Yeah.
So what's it like wrestling, a girl in her first match?
It was really fun. We were good friends at that time. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. She was very excited. I was very excited. I think everyone was very excited actually, because obviously it was the first time we'd ever had a girl involved.
I mean, people talk about Lila, they talk about Stacey, but people kind of forget Bambi was like the diva of ICWS for a time there.
I think she was the first girl we ever had involved.
Apart from Sky Summers.
No, she was after Bambi, wasn't she?
No, that was before. That was when they had their feud in 2010.
Okay, well,
but she, I don't think she was only at one show.
Yeah, that proves how unimportant Sky Summer was. But yeah, wrestling Bambi was really fun. Yeah, we were good friends at that stage. She was really keen. I was really keen. It was really different wrestling a girl as well. I didn't think it would be that different, and I wasn't trying to treat it differently. But yeah, sort of just trying to...
Well, she's a bit of a tomboy, so she kind of moves around like a bit like a guy when she wrestles.
Yeah. It wasn't
awkward.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to work with her at all. It was very easy to work with her.
It's like when you watch a girl kick a football. Girls don't kick footballs properly.
Yeah,
but
it looks odd for most girls.
Yeah,
but then there's some that it just it happens.
Some that can do that motion perfectly, and she wrestled like pretty well for a girl.
Yeah.
In comparison to some girls that have been in the past.
Yeah, I would say her debut was probably on par with almost anyone else's. She did really well. I was impressed with her actually. She was quite confident as well.
Yep.
Crowd seemed to love her. Probably for the fact that she was the first girl, but
So I don't know how much you want to talk about this subject, but there is a bit of problems with you and MC Cruel. He's no longer in ICWS, but I think it does involve her a little bit. I don't know how much you want to say, but whatever you want to say, you can say. They'll never listen to this anyway, so...
Yeah. Where do I start?
If they do, what are you doing with your life listening to a Backyard Wrestling podcast?
Yeah, you're supposed to be in the pros
We're
now.
the
What are you
losers
doing?
doing the podcast, alright?
Alright, so let's take it from the start. As far as I can remember. Honestly, my memory is a bit hazy on this. So hopefully I don't say anything incorrect or whatever. So me and Letitia and I, is the correct grammar, not me and Letitia. We were good friends. We were sort of... I wouldn't really... sort of into each other, I guess, but nothing actually happened. But then she was interested in Eli, MC Cruel, and I became interested in other girls, so that was all good. They started dating, Letitia and MC Cruel, and myself, and the other girl as well.
Yep.
Pretty much around the same time, I think, pretty sure, yeah. But my ex-girlfriend Haley, she did not like Letitia and Eli for some reason. I do not know why. And I think she was the cause, Haley, my ex-girlfriend, was the cause of most of the trouble that was brought up between myself and Eli.
Okay.
So yeah, there was a lot of stuff between me and Eli that happened. He was not very happy with me at all. I honestly don't really remember what happened in that period, but yeah, it was pretty tense between us.
I remember before you going out with Haley, just to chime in, I remember DJ's 18th birthday. I don't know if you remember too distinctly of this night at his old house that he lived at, but
Yeah.
I remember she was going out with Eli at the time, but for most of the party she was sitting on your lap.
Oh yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but
well, it probably did. Yeah. From memory, it wasn't anything to me. Like there wasn't anything weird going on, but
just two friends, really.
yeah, basically. But obviously, from his point of view, I totally understand that. That was a bit weird, especially considering Millie and Tisha's past of sort of being into each other a little bit. So yeah, me and Eli had a bit of trouble between us for a long time, really. For probably 2 years or so. We didn't really talk for a long time.
A long time, yeah.
Yeah, probably a year and a half or so. And
it wasn't until GBYWN event where he said hello to you.
Yeah. And then eventually, gradually sort of started saying hello, how you doing, that sort of thing. He added me back on Facebook eventually. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, must be all good. And I think we had a conversation and we sort of, got it past us, if I remember correctly. I think there was a conversation. Yeah, cleared the air. And yeah, as far as I know, we're all good now.
But safe to say the relationship probably will never be the same as it once was.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, as I said in the last podcast, we were really good friends. We were hanging out all the time. Outside of wrestling and everything, going to places together and stuff like that. It's just girls that got between us, basically. I didn't really have much against him, but I totally understood his stuff against me. Even though in hindsight, I would blame a lot of it on my ex-girlfriend, who was absolutely crazy and should not have done that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really unfortunate. But yeah, I wish I was still really good friends with Eli, because we used to be really good friends, and I have absolutely nothing against him.
Well, perhaps maybe a catch-up is in order at some point, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
We have a little hangout sometime.
Yeah, I would like to do that, yeah. Sort of make sure everything's all clear and hopefully become friends again, yeah.
Yeah, talk about old times,
Yeah.
Alright, well, I guess it kind of reminds me of my relationship with Horny Too Horny. We're not friends anymore. We haven't spoken 2 years.
I didn't know that.
No, we haven't spoken in a long time.
Oh, wow.
We've had a bit of a falling out. But
I knew you guys didn't really talk, but...
No, and it's more a problem on his side of things. I'm more than open to sorting things out, but he's been like that since day one. He's always had a problem with someone, and there's always a drama with him. So
yeah, I guess that was the same sort of thing with me and Eli. Like I never really held anything against him. I always understood what he was feeling and thinking and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I sort of found it difficult trying to reconnect with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he finds it difficult, perhaps still today, I'm not too sure, to sort of get past it. But yeah, every time we see each other now, we say hello and sometimes have a little chat and stuff. So
yeah, well, I mean, all the bad blood there, it makes me hopeful. One day, me and Vaughn will be okay. But
yeah,
recently, after I did the podcast with Diffuser, Nick Ariel sent the link to Horny Too Horny on Facebook and said, "Oh, Diffuser mentions you in the podcast. You might like to hear what he had to say about wrestling you and all that."
Oh yeah.
Vaughn said, "Thanks, but no thanks."
Right.
So
yeah.
it's just kind of like, okay, well. Continue to live with hate in your heart, dude.
Yeah,
I'm over it.
Yeah, it's sort of their problem rather than yours.
It's his problem now, not mine.
You do what you can, but you can only do so much, really.
Pretty much. So let's get back to the wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. This podcast is about wrestling, isn't it?
ICWS Bloodline 2011, you wrestled Killawatt Kaos for the championship in a last man standing match. I believe it goes to a draw. You guys have a great match.
Yep.
I don't believe I was there for that show to see it.
I don't think you were,
but,
no.
I heard it was really good.
Yeah.
It's almost like you took that last man standing match idea that you were going to do with me, and then you applied it to your feud with SPWS.
Yeah, I think that pretty much was how it happened, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and Chaos have always had great matches. We're on the same wavelength. We're on the same level of craziness, or at least we were back then. Probably still are.
Yep.
So yeah, we were happy to go all out, and yeah, we've always had great chemistry.
Yeah. I believe around Bloodline, Delcanho leaves to go to do his pro wrestling thing.
Yep,
He drops
yep.
the title to Clint Marshall when he's off.
Yeah.
Gives a farewell speech and all that. There's a lot of heat between him and JD Flame at this point as well, so I think he's happy to leave. But,
Yeah.
unfortunately for him, JD Flame follows him to Schreier.
Yeah.
But your thoughts on Delcanho leaving the fold, and kind of leaving before he really got to get to that spot that he ended up getting to.
Yeah, I mean, it was very sad to see him go, because I think he had a lot left in him to do in yarding.
Did you kind of think he would be back?
It was hard to tell at that time, because, you know, sort of a lot of people were going to Schwa, and then it wasn't really working out for them, stuff like that.
Because I know at this time I was at DJ's 18th specifically. I kept saying to you and Chris and all that, I should never have left. I want to come back to ICWS.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so, you know, people leaving to go pro, it was sort of good for you, go and do what you want to do, but, you know, maybe we'll see you back one day. Yeah, basically. So yeah, it was disappointing to see him go. He definitely had a lot more to do in the yard, in ICWS.
And thankfully he did come back, because he ended up having the great run that he did.
Yeah.
So also, we're just going through all these returns and leaving and all this stuff, but we get a debut of Lowrider and Tim Justice.
Oh, yes.
Can I please tell me you were the one that brought them in?
Yes, I was.
Again, Dan Zeplin,
how did I
again.
contact Tim? Let me think.
Scout that you are, you
Tim,
bring them in.
I'm 99% sure, again, it was through APW.
Because I know him and Lowe had their little lounge room wrestling federation that they did.
Tim, there was a girl who was also... I was still an APW member at this point, and there was also another girl who I think was Tim's cousin, or maybe just a good friend or something like that. So we sort of met through that chick. So yeah, I guess eventually I started talking to Tim and showed him the yarding stuff, and he said, yeah, I'm keen for that. I don't think at that point we knew about Lowrider.
Maybe Tim mentioned, I've got my cousin who wants to do it too.
I think that was a bit later. I think he sort of... It was his thing at first.
From what I gather, I think they debuted in a match against each other. I think that's what it was. But I can't quite remember. But either way, Lowrider also comes on board. So what are your first impressions of them and them trying to fit into the ICWS locker room? Because I think at first it took a while for them to really fit in. Yeah,
I think it might have been a bit tough for them, because the roster was quite packed by then, and everyone was really good by that stage. Sort of the worst, like the lesser talented wrestlers, had sort of left by then, like your Big Mac Blaze, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So everyone was getting really good in the ring.
Yeah, everyone's improving. JD Flame's improving.
Yeah. It's probably one of the best parts of ICWS, the best eras.
Yeah, you got like, you know, this is a rebuilding stage for ICWS pretty much. You got Mikanos, you got Three Dog coming in. You've got unfortunately Delcanho leaving, but now you've got Lowrider and Tim Justice joining, and you've got Knuckles returning. Yeah. So Knuckles comes back after maybe nearly a 2-year absence from wrestling, and now he's full-time until his retirement match, which was pretty cool. So memories on seeing Nemanja come back, the first ever champ.
I think I was a little surprised to see him come back, because from the start he was never too into wrestling, as far as I know. it was more for the social aspect, and he also enjoyed martial arts and stuff like that, so I guess that was sort of relatable.
And obviously Dragon Ball Z, as you can tell from his moveset.
Yeah.
Falcon Punch!
Yeah, but I was really stoked to see him back, because I'd always wanted to wrestle him. We'd never really talked a whole lot or anything, but I always had a lot of respect for him, always liked him. So yeah, I was hoping I would get the chance to wrestle him, which eventually I did.
You did, yes, and that will come up soon. But another return, Dante Daniels. I didn't actually get to mention him when we were talking about 2009. I probably just didn't get the chance to really skim through the results of all the shows. But Dante Daniels, who had previously been there, had come back. He was only there for about 3 shows, and then he was off again. But
yeah, so he was a big addition to the roster at the time, because his brother apparently had done some pro training, or might have even wrestled for a pro company, which I think was AAW.
Okay. I've met his brother at some APW shows. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, right. So apparently through that made him some sort of celebrity in the wrestling world. Okay. Compared to the rest of us at that stage.
He's a second generation superstar, even though it's just his brother.
It's sort of like, oh, he's related to pro wrestling. He's probably fantastic.
From what I gather, he was a natural.
Yeah, that aside, he was naturally gifted, and he was very good at what he did. He went to the same high school as a lot of us as well, again. So yeah, it was great to see him debut, but yeah, it was very disappointing to see him not last very long. He lasted 3 shows, I think.
He wrestled Tim, he wrestled Knuckles to start their feud off, then he wrestled me when he was supposed to wrestle Knuckles.
Yeah.
And that was his last match. Where I ended his winning streak.
So, so that was disappointing to see him go so quickly.
I think you kept booking him. You kept wanting to end the feud with Knuckles, but he just couldn't show up.
He couldn't show up. He had a lot of responsibilities. He has a daughter and stuff like that, so he had to take care of that sort of thing, of course.
Yeah. Which is pretty hard for a guy who's probably barely 21 at that stage.
Definitely. I think I got to wrestle him in a Rumble or something like that, which is very enjoyable. I enjoyed wrestling him. I can't remember if it was an official match, or maybe we were just mucking around or something.
You might have wrestled him once, who knows?
I think it was in a Rumble or something. Anyway, great dude. I'd love to see him back one day, but
well, he was going to come back at the first ICWS show back against Blade.
Yeah.
Which would be amazing to see, but
I don't think that will ever happen, to be honest.
Well, I spoke to him at APW, and I said to him, "Look, man, I'm thinking like this year we do a Royal Rumble every year, and I think the only way that I can see you maybe committing, would you like to be a part of our Battlefield Brawl match?" And my idea was he will come out, he would clean house. I'm giving my results here. Maybe I won't say it, I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah.
But he basically, the idea was that he could possibly be in the Battlefield Brawl. Okay. I'm not spoiling anything.
And win it, apparently.
If you see him at
he was
going
to win the Battlefield Brawl.
If you see him at the show, then you know he's going to be in the Brawl. So I'm not spoiling anything else other than that, but I'll tell you my idea after we finish this podcast.
Okay. Secret business here, folks.
And another return, Declan Diamond is back.
Who cares?
Excellent. So from
No. I was very, very happy to see Declan Diamond back. Obviously, he was a good friend of mine in that period. Well,
and I felt
in all periods he was, but
I felt he hadn't accomplished all he could have accomplished.
Oh, definitely. I think he went pro too early. I mean, he had a decent run in the pros, but
Ben Tennis.
Yeah. He enjoyed it. That's the main thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he had a lot more to do in ICWS, considering all the new people coming in.
Yeah, and we really needed that veteran.
Not many of the veterans were there anymore. It was only basically me, if I remember correctly. Nick was still sort of around, but he wasn't wrestling.
Yeah.
Eli was gone. He was in the pros. So yeah, I was sort of the only veteran, and even then, I wasn't an original. Knuckles was there, but he's sort of a bit different. He's not on the same level as everyone else.
But you wouldn't have been the kind of guy to be giving, forthgoing with giving advice and teaching people to wrestle.
No.
Which is what DJ really would have stepped up to the plate and helped out with.
Yeah.
So it would have been good to have that a bit of knowledge there. Chris Zeplin needs a little bit of help with these new guys, and I guess DJ would have filled that role as well. So unfortunately, JD Flame is also leaving. He doesn't leave for very long, but he wrestles you in a career versus title match. So I believe this is the first time you and JD Flame go 1-on-1.
Yep.
So your thoughts on JD Flame's run, and his maybe premature exit. He had a bit more to do, but getting to wrestle him as well.
Yeah, he was always really entertaining to watch. He had he had great charisma, and I really enjoyed wrestling him as well. I think he was a little hard to work with people who he didn't know too well. Like, he was sort of more comfortable with people that he knew, which is totally understandable, of course.
Yeah.
I think we pulled off a decent match. We've had pretty good chemistry, considering that, he preferred to wrestle the people that he knew better, I think, at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did well trying to adapt to everyone.
Yeah. Well, that was a running thing with our podcast last night. He always said, like, when I was wrestling someone I wasn't comfortable with, the matches usually weren't very good.
Yeah.
But vice versa, though, he would have had a great match with someone he did well.
Yeah.
So we finally get to Twisted Metal 5 after this battle with JD Flame. You finally wrestle Clint Marshall. He's the hardcore champion. You're the heavyweight champion. Not sure if there's been too much interaction between the characters beforehand, but it's this big hyped up champion versus champion match, which I believe gets voted match of the year. Might be wrong, but I think it is.
I'll take your word on that.
But main event, Twisted Metal 5. So your thoughts on dropping the belt to Clint Marshall and passing the torch to him?
I was always really happy to work with Clint. I knew I was always in for a hell of a fight because he loved to throw me around and do the biggest moves he could, and I had to pull out the best spots I could as well. It was a lot of fun to wrestle him.
And he's an ideas man, isn't he? He comes up with quite a lot.
Oh, definitely. He comes up with great spots, great sequences, stuff like that.
And I want to ask you about this because last night I brought up the Clint Marshall notepad. And he wasn't aware that anyone really took notice of it, but he's always got a notepad, and he's got all of his spots that he's planning for his match, and the next time he comes around, he flips the page over and he starts on a new page.
Yeah, now you mention that, I have seen that.
He has a little notepad. He always has things written down and stuff. So it must have been interesting planning a match with him.
I don't recall him using that when we were planning a match, although we most likely planned online. So.
Because I was upset when I got to wrestle him, he didn't bring out the notepad. I was like, why don't I get
Is this not important enough? One thing worth a mention is the Clint Marshall nipple cam. When he went around backstage.
You did bring that up, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you brought it up?
I brought it up in the Q&A, did the first one. What was the genesis of nipple cam?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, filming everyone's nipples. Yeah, that was fun. We should do that again sometime. We should bring that back.
Yeah, I think we need to bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, there's more girls at the shows these days, so that's definitely appropriate.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, nothing.
Just keep away from Dan's fucking girlfriend, mate. All right.
No, she can show it.
She can show it too. The following show, okay, there's an infamous moment in this triple threat match with Kaos and Clint Marshall. Kaos wins the hardcore title in the first fall. The second fall's for the heavyweight title, but. Infamous for a jumping tombstone onto a chair that was folded out. I was there for the show.
Yeah. What do you think of it? You tell me about it.
I was like, what the fuck?
Why would you do that?
Insane. Like, but you assured her, so you were safe, and it was just his knees that hit the chair.
Yeah.
But the angle that I had, because you have that top cover of the chair, so it just looks like you just get drilled. And that was just an amazing idea and a great spot, and something that, why didn't Undertaker ever do that?
Yeah, I'm really proud of that. If I remember correctly, I think I suggested that spot to him in person, and I remember his eyes widening, and he was like...
So it was your
what?
idea?
Yeah, it was my idea,
Okay, wicked.
In a lot of my hardcore matches, the most brutal bumps that I took were usually my ideas. So take that as you will. But yeah, I remember he was like, "Are you sure you want me to do that to you?" But yeah, I was really proud of that. Everyone popped like hell for that. Yeah, I love to watch that back every now and then.
Yeah, it was a decent little triple threat match. And this show was also noteworthy because I made my surprise return to ICWS.
Yeah.
I hid in your bed.
In the computer room.
All
no one knew you were there.
I got there like extra early.
You were in there for how long? Like 3 hours?
I got there at
hours?
like 9:30 just to
And the
make
show
sure
started at 11ish.
11, 12ish. So I was sitting in your.
You were in the house for about 3 hours. No one knew you were there.
Yeah.
What were you doing in that time? Were you on the computer?
I think I went on the computer a little bit, and I was just sitting around, just waiting. Just Chris would come in every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and talk to me, and you would come in, and then DJ came in and spoke to me, and I was just trying to make sure that the plan was in place. Like, Dan's on music, DJ's on camera, Chris is on the bass, and he's like, and we're gonna get on with our first match. And then as that happens, my new theme hits, so no one knows who it's gonna be. And then, as you see me sneak through the curtain with my hoodie on, you can't tell who that's going to be.
Even when you'd walk through the curtain, some people still didn't know who it was. Like, they didn't twig straight away.
Yeah, and then turn around and I take off the hoodie, and there I am. And
crazy pop.
Huge pop. And, because no one knew it was going to happen. There's Tim Justice there, who I don't know, but he knows me for sure.
And because everyone legitimately thought you were done with backyard wrestling.
Yeah, I made it clear on the thread. No, there's no way I'm done. And that was like the first of many instances. Delcanho did the same thing when he returned to WCWA. He said, I'm done. To try and get that pop. But that was an amazing pop for me. That was one of my most memorable moments in backyard wrestling. And the promo I cut apparently got huge heat with Schwa.
I remember
dealing
that,
with the bullshit of the politics in pro wrestling made me lose love for wrestling, but I'm back in the ICWS to gain my love for wrestling again. And apparently they got huge heat because I already had enough heat with them at the time.
Well, I mean, why are they watching our backyard wrestling shows if they're going to be like that, really? Like,
well, at this point,
they know they're going to get annoyed, aren't they? So
at this point,
why
I
are you
should
watching?
be in their rearview mirror. They shouldn't care about what I'm doing. But apparently, it really irked them that I actually went back to yarding.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But to me, I didn't care. I was back doing what made me love wrestling was being in ICWS.
Yeah.
As much as I loved XCW and that was great, ICWS was really an opportunity to grow that love of wrestling and do something a bit different. Not being in charge and just being a wrestler on the roster was, very nice for me. So from there, the following show, you form a team with Tim Justice, and you start to move away from the main event scene. I guess is this your idea to team with Tim?
I can't remember, to be honest. I was definitely Tim's best mate in the Fed because obviously I was the one who contacted him originally. I can't remember where the idea came from. I think it may have been my idea, if I remember correctly, yeah.
To kind of have a protege.
Yeah.
Were you maybe influenced by the Chad Yo thing?
Yeah.
In a way,
it could have been, yeah.
Kind of.
I think I was looking for something different to do. And, I think Tim coming in was something noteworthy.
Yeah. So from there, you kind of kick off a bit of a feud with the newly formed radical movement, with GBYWN's being heavily influenced in ICWS at this point. We're bringing the radical movement. Did you have many discussions with Rad Hazard and stuff, or was it more Chris Zeplin, or was it DJ? Who was really on board with firstly bringing in the Aussie title for us, and who else was instrumental in also bringing in a radical movement?
I think I initiated the discussions and stuff. I think I was the first one to chat with Rad Hazard. As seems to be the trend, me contacting people.
Yep.
But yeah, I think I sort of handed it over to Chris and DJ to sort out the
logistics.
Yeah, the business side, I guess, if you want to call backyard wrestling business. Because that I wasn't really bothered about working out all the details and stuff. But yeah, I was keen to get involved with them. Yeah, help get that sorted.
You got inducted into the GBYWN. We got the Aussie title away from that dreadful federation in Queensland that had the belt.
They were absolutely terrible.
AWGP with AV dangerously.
Yeah, that guy would message me constantly.
He messaged me too. He wanted me to change the name of WCWA to be unified with this federation over there.
Yeah, he wanted the same thing for us.
PWA, WZWA or something like that.
Yeah, it was
Anyway,
really close.
his actions ended up getting Rad Hazard to wipe the slate clean and forget about forget the history of the Aussie title with them.
Yeah, how good was that?
And start off on a fresh note with ICWS, which was pretty cool. So at this time, I'm assuming, because DJ's back, he's heavily involved with booking with Chris. Were you heavily involved with booking in 2010 and 11, and when did you start to slowly move away from being involved in it?
I think that was probably around the time that I slowly started getting away from it. I was still interested then, but I was sort of starting to get interested in different things. I was getting into like photography and video and stuff like that, which is now my career. So I didn't spend...
And all the pussy.
Yeah, definitely. So I didn't spend heaps of time thinking about booking and such. I was definitely still interested. I was still 100% keen on ICWS and everything. I hadn't lost interest at that point. But yeah, I sort of left most of it to Chris. I think Chris was the main booker at that stage.
Chris really was the main.
Yeah.
But I know DJ was heavily involved in
Oh, definitely, yeah.
in things. I remember one specific thing. DJ told me, no, Dark Ice is not beating you in a match.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, okay, well, I'll lose to Chaos then, because I was going to lose to either one of the SPWS. And he said no. He wouldn't let me lose to Dark Ice, even though I said I wanted to. Which might be news to you, Ice, if you're listening. But anyway, from there, you're suffering many defeats at this stage. You lose to Mikanos. You and Tim Justice, I think you lose a tag match here and there. You're suffering defeats and moving down the card. Do you feel like maybe after just being champion, maybe it's a bit drastic for you to be losing so many in a row so quickly?
No, not really. I was happy with it because that was sort of the point in the storyline with Tim Justice. He was supposed to, I was supposed to bring him up, whereas it turned out that he was bringing me down.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a true life story that would happen in real life.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the point in the storyline, really. So
Okay.
I was happy with that. One of my, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but one of my main memories is the water bottle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mikanos gives you the super kick with the water bottle.
I'm holding... So, firstly, Tim distracts me. He's in my corner when I'm having a match with Mikanos. He's like, do you want to drink water, man? I was like, oh, fucking yeah, well, I'll have a drink of water. And then I'm still holding the water bottle when I turn around. Mikanos super kicks me. I throw the bottle into the air. I'd thought about doing that for several weeks. That was like a planned spot. I would throw the water bottle in the air. I just thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
So it goes in the air, I bump the super kick, and then the water bottle comes down and hits me in the face. Such an accurate throw.
Eyes closed, right? Because you just taken a super kick.
Yeah. I was, dead on the base.
And I remember the pop from everyone when it hit you in the face.
Yeah.
And I think you started like laughing.
Yeah, I started laughing. Yeah.
But that was amazing.
But luckily, that was the end of the match. So yeah.
Yeah, that was an amazing moment that you can't write.
Oh, yeah. Like, if I had practiced trying to throw a water bottle into my face for weeks, I wouldn't have got it. But
it was
it
like
just...
the first time you did it, happened. That's
and it
what's
just
so great.
Straight in the face. It was open too. I don't think the lid was on, so it leaked a bit.
Yeah. So I think scaling back, I think not just this show, I think it was Hardcore Halloween Hell that you wrestled Mikanos, but I think Cold Day in Hell was the show beforehand, which was also... known for the debut of Alex Stone.
Yes.
So I think Alex had come to the previous show, and then the next show he was keen to be a part of the roster. Your thoughts on Alex Stone debuting? Did you ever think that was going to be a thing? As I believe you've already known him for a little while now.
Yeah. I'd known him for I don't know, a year or two by then.
Okay.
Yeah, I was absolutely stoked that he was coming in, because he was a sort of a big deal around my high school because he always performed in a band at assemblies and stuff like that.
Really? He was like a cool guy.
Yeah, he was like a really cool guy, like one of the probably the most popular guy in school that, at least in my eyes.
Just got pussy on tap.
Yeah. He wishes. No, he probably did if he wanted it. But yeah, I was absolutely stoked that he was keen to get involved. That was through Ice and Chaos mainly. I believe if they weren't really involved, he probably wouldn't have come in.
Okay. Because they were like two really good friends of his.
Yeah, they were really good friends. They talked about it in their podcast, but yeah. But yeah, I was absolutely stoked to see him coming in because I held him in quite high regard. I sort of looked up to him in a way. I don't know why, because I wasn't really into music or anything, but I just thought he was a general cool guy, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, I was just stoked to have him.
I remember seeing him debut. It was the show after I had come back, and I was like, oh, fuck you. You're immediately so good.
Yeah, and straight away, I knew he'd be amazing.
It took me 8 years to actually cut a good promo.
Yeah, and straight away he comes
promo,
in.
Great, first match, great. And I'm like, fuck, it took me even longer than that to have a good match.
Yeah.
But also Ryan Tate debuts on the same show against random return from Wicked Nick James. He hadn't wrestled since January against Mikanos.
There's another person I brought in, Ryan Tate.
Yes, due to knowing Lily.
His girlfriend Lily, or Lila, in the ring.
Yeah.
Breaking kayfabe. So yeah, I'd been friends with Lily for a few years. We went to the same high school again, another person from Hampton.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Has Lily been coming to the shows without, like, before Ryan? Or
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Could be wrong there. Sorry, Lily, if I'm forgetting. But yeah, I don't think she was there beforehand.
Okay.
She was interested. She knew about it. She'd been watching it, if I remember correctly, but I don't think she'd been there.
Okay.
And yeah, a mutual friend of theirs, who was actually a friend of mine as well. He was my best mate in primary school. He hooked up Ryan and Lily, basically.
Oh, okay.
So me and Lily being friends, she knew about the wrestling. I think Ryan must have been into wrestling as well.
Yeah.
So they were like, hey, blah, blah. Doop-de-doo. Ryan was into it.
So, that first match, I mean, it only lasted about 45 seconds or something.
Poor
Ryan
guy.
will be able to give you the specific seconds that it lasted.
Yeah, of course.
But that match was so hot. Because people, Wicked Nick James is returning.
Yeah.
And we're already popping for him because of his Nick's 2 cents segment. But yeah, to see him and Ryan, that was a great little debut for Ryan.
Yeah, and I know he was stoked with that because he came down on the day, and beforehand it was like, oh, you may get a match, like probably not, but if we have someone free, maybe a dark match. But yeah, ended up being booked on the actual show, even though it was a very quick squash match. I know he was stoked with it.
Yeah. All right, so we get to the next Twisted Metal. Am I skipping? No, I'm not skipping ahead too much here. We get to another Twisted Metal where you battle Body Spray for the inaugural tag team titles with Team
I love
Justice.
Body Spray. I'll just say right now, I love Body Spray gimmick.
Body Spray was fucking awesome.
It was so good.
As far as gimmicky gimmicks go in backyard wrestling, that's pretty good for ICWS.
That's a very yardy gimmick.
Yeah.
Classic gimmick, yeah.
I know Justin was very proud to be the first ever tag team champion. So, the previous year you wrestled Clint Marshall in the main event. Now you're doing a tag team match for the tag titles. How do you reckon that went?
Which match was that?
You and Tim Justice versus Body Spray.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember that one too much, to be honest. Can't be that good then, can it?
After the match, you turned on Tim Justice and beat the shit out of him.
Oh, I smacked him with a chair, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yes, that was a good moment. That felt good. Always good to hit Tim with stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was happy about that actually because we knew from the start that that's what the feud was building up to.
Okay.
That was the plan all along.
Yeah.
Okay. We were never going to be a long-lasting tag team.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was just sort of like we'd be a team. He would fuck me over basically accidentally, and then I would get angry at him, and then basically I would try and put him over. Eventually.
Yeah. Do you
So,
remember
yeah.
his little entrance video that he made?
Oh yeah, that was a good
Tag
video,
teams with Dan Zeplin.
Tag teams with Dan Zeplin, and it featured footage from his little lounge room federation with Mr. Brian Lowe.
All right. So at the same show, Jack Wallace and Angelica's debut. Are you
Same
the
show,
one
was it?
once again that contacts WCWA? Because I know Lowe
Yes.
and Tim had wrestled on their shows previously.
Yeah.
So were you the one to once again?
Yeah, I believe I was. Yeah.
Oh, that was great. Wasn't that great?
I don't know if you heard that. You probably did, but Aston Crude just farted.
Yep, and it was as brown as Monet.
Yeah.
Okay, so from there, actually, what are your thoughts on the WCWA showcase match that we got?
Well, that's such a broad question, really. I won't go into how we sort of got involved with WWA. Basically, we saw them online and we started chatting. Same thing as all the other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really stoked to have more people along. I think because we had such a strong roster already, not nobody, but people. So the audience wasn't super excited about them coming along. I mean, people were keen to have them along and join us, but
that stigma of trampoline wrestlers.
Yeah, that too.
Despite the fact that the last time this happened, it was TWA, which ended up being 3 of the best ones that we had, best new guys that came into the fold.
I think another thing was these guys were a lot younger than most of us, so we may have been a bit skeptical of their ability, as that combined with being them wrestling on a trampoline beforehand. But yeah, we were definitely keen to see how they go. There wasn't the huge impact that they made when they debuted, like there was for, say, Clint Marshall, Mike Delcanho and such.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were glad to have them along.
Yeah. Alright, so from there, we get to a show called ICWS Radical Movement. Nick Ariel makes his one appearance since the XCW ICWS series in 2010. You wrestle him as EQG. That was a fucking great match. It really showcased EQG at his absolute best. I think Nick just wanted to have a really good match, but the second time you got to wrestle him.
Yep.
But yeah, memories of being the one to help Nick Ariel come back. And
I was stoked to wrestle him again. The first time I wrestled him, it was absolutely amazing. I don't know if the EQG match was even on par, or perhaps even better than the.
I think it probably was.
I don't know if it's better, which is sad for an EQG match, because EQG matches are just rubbish mostly. It's just to put the other person over. Whereas EQG actually got a decent amount of offense in. We did some good spots, good sequences, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would say that's even probably up there in my top 10 matches probably. And that's kind of sad, doing it as EQG.
He gave you the Hurricane Runner off the tree branch. And all
that. We did all sorts.
We
were quite innovative with that. As you said, we worked with the tree in the backyard, which I don't think was
and I was very disappointed that he didn't keep coming back. He kept on missing shows because he expected me to drive all the way and pick him up and drive him to the show and drive him home and all that. Yeah. And I wanted him to just make the effort to drive himself because he already had a car and all that. But he didn't return after that. But still, it was a great showing for him. And Radical Movement, as far as I'm aware, everyone believes that was the best show in ICWS history. Just so much shit went down. It was crazy. So you did turn on Tim Justice, and the feud had begun. And you have a match, and Tim gets his first ever win via roll-up.
Yeah.
Be cool putting Tim over?
Yeah, I was happy with that, because again, it was part of the storyline. We planned that from the beginning, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the purpose that it served. Yeah, I was happy with that. Okay. From the start, I was happy to put him over.
Cool. Around this time, you finally wrestled Knuckles.
Yeah.
Took a while, but you finally got there. So your memories of wrestling Nemanja?
Yeah, finally got there. Took 4 years, 5 years,
almost 5
something
years.
Like that, yeah. I was really happy to wrestle him. Honestly, going into it, I was a little worried about how good it might be because he's not really a wrestling fan. So I was thinking, if I'm going to be calling my moves and stuff, I don't know if he's going to know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he knows about psychology, stuff like that. But yeah, it ended up being a really good match. I was super happy with it. I can't remember a bad thing about it. I think pretty much everything went smoothly. We pulled off some wicked moves, some good sequences. Yeah, great match. Really enjoyed that one. I'm so glad that we got to wrestle actually.
Yeah, because he didn't go too much longer after this.
Yeah.
So it was good to get that one done.
Yeah, I think it would have been pretty shit if we didn't wrestle at some point.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we really pulled off what it deserved to be.
Yeah. Just two ICWS, UWF originals going out there.
Yeah. Not a huge match between us, but just a nice, solid match.
Yeah. All right. From there, you have a loser leaves town match against Tim Justice because he's leaving to do EPW at this stage, EPW training. So this is Tim's last match. You pick up the win. Haley Hell debuts. You join SPWS. A lot of things happening here.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it for you to join SPWS? I guess you're hanging out with him quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, actually, firstly with Tim, him leaving for EPW he cut off his own storyline there. So the story basically was, as I mentioned before, he would come under my wing. We would eventually turn on each other. I would eventually put him over. He would go into at least the mid card, possibly eventually main event. He was originally losing a lot of matches because, he was the rookie debuting, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't too happy about that, but we were like, okay, you just got to stick with it and then you'll get your time to shine in a few months. But yeah, I don't know if he got sick of it or if he was just really keen on pro wrestling, but he
just wouldn't let up. He wanted to perform in front of a paying crowd and all this stuff. He wouldn't let it go, and I was like, dude, it's too early. And I think I was right.
Absolutely. I think you were correct.
He not only screwed himself with ICWS, but he also screwed himself with WCWA because he was actually going to come away from that first show in the ring with the WCWA Championship. Yeah. But because he said he was leaving, well, I was like, I'm sorry. You can't walk away with the title because, you can't just leave and we got to vacate the title. So he screwed himself not only there, but also the possibility of finding success in ICWS.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I mean, obviously, it's understandable that you wanted to go pro, but we've been building this storyline up for so long. He'd be sort of disappointed with us that we hadn't booked him in for a win and stuff like that. But then he sort of cut himself off from, the glory of what we were building up to.
Yeah.
What was the question of that? Joining SPWS.
Yeah.
It was basically just because we were becoming really good friends. We both keep saying both. All three of us were into the same things like heavy music and general dark shit. We all just got on really well. They were still in high school at that point. I think they were year 12.
I don't know.
They may have graduated. I don't know. But yeah, we were hanging out a fair bit, and they basically just they wanted to take me in as part of SPWS. And
okay.
I thought, well, fuck yeah, I'm not going to turn that up.
Wicked. So what's the idea behind Haley Hell being a member of SPWS? I know Dark Ice pretty much did not want to talk about it in his podcast, but does she want to be involved?
I don't know.
Did you ask her to be involved?
It just sort of happened naturally, because she was my girlfriend at the time. We'd been dating, I don't know, around about a year at that point, I think. So I joined SPWS. We were this big group. We were like, hey, it'd be cool if we had a female. How about we get my girlfriend in? That works. So yeah, I think it just sort of happened naturally like that. It wasn't like she wanted to really join. It was just like she was there so she could come out with us,
Were you happy with it at the time? Because I thought she actually performed pretty well when she did a little segment.
Yeah, at the time she did well. Yeah, she did okay.
And anyway, so you're in SPWS. The following show, I believe, Dynamo debuts in his first match in a proving ground match against you. It's his first ICWS match. Do you remember wrestling Dynamo in his first outing in ICWS? So at this stage, it had only been Antilochus and Jack Wallace. Now Dynamo's finally in there.
I honestly don't remember too much about that. I think he was a bit nervous about the match because it was obviously one of the first times he was wrestling one of the main ICWS dudes. He was a lot of fun to wrestle. I think that was the day he almost killed me before the show. could be wrong there, but yeah, one time he lifted me up on his shoulders
Keep going.
between matches. Aston Crude is going for a wee, but he lifted me up on his shoulders, and he went to run while I was still on his shoulders, and he tripped over, and he very nearly crashed my head into the side of the base, which I don't think had any padding on it, or like the corner didn't have any padding on it or something. So yeah, that's the story of him very nearly killing me during an ICWS show. Before an ICWS show, actually, the show hadn't even started, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Did you listen to this podcast?
I don't remember him discussing our match in the podcast.
He does mention
I
it.
don't. No, I haven't listened to his podcast actually, but I'm very keen to listen to it. That's the one I was talking about earlier that I haven't listened to yet.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yep. No, now I remember that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
one that I did do
Yeah.
randomly.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of fun to wrestle Mono. Yeah, he's a lot of fun to wrestle. I'd love to wrestle him again actually, although I don't know if I'd be up to his speed these days. He's doing really well these days. So.
Don't think of it like that, man. Think of it as, okay, when I wrestle him, I gotta like be on my A game and be prepared.
That's the
And
thing.
you can do it, man. Don't believe you can't do it, because we've seen you do it before, man, and you can do it again.
Yeah.
And when you get in there with him, as soon as that bell rings, as soon as I go, ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
it's time. It's go time.
Yeah.
And he specifically said in his podcast, I need to have a series of matches with Dan Zeplin. At least
Really?
one or two. He wants to have like some really solid matches with you.
I can't be
He
fucked
wants
with a series, man. Come on.
He wants to really like bring you back up to previous prominence.
I'll give you one match. You're getting one match, Mono.
And
I'm not doing a series with you. I'm too old for that. I'm past my prime, and I can't bust out
28.
two.
I'm 28. You have no excuse.
I can't bust out two matches with a young fit fella like you, man. Come on, I'm too old for that.
The following
I'm 20 years old. Come on.
The following show, Rex Regum also debuts. At this stage, this is one interesting thing I want to talk about. Do you feel like the identity of what ICWS was, which was that federation that you had back in the day, which you got your Blaze, your Big Mac, your Nitro, your MC Cruel, Wicked Nick James, all those guys. Now it's kind of like pretty much ICWS is, you got Dan Zeplin representing the old guard, you got Knuckles there, but everyone else is pretty much a new dude. Do you feel like ICWS is now becoming, with like a Rex Regan and a Dynamo joining at the tail end of, the main era of ICWS, do you feel like it's kind of losing its identity a little bit, and it's becoming more of a... It's no longer that ICWS, it's just an amalgamation, once again, to use that word, of all these other wrestlers, as opposed to ICWS originals.
Yeah, I do quite feel like that actually. I mean, I don't sort of actively think about it like that, if you know what I mean. I'm not like, I wish ICWS was like how it used to be. Yeah, it is so different from what it used to be, and basically these days it's just a different place for the WWA boys to wrestle, you know. Ever since WWA started, that's been the main thing, which is absolutely understandable. They have a ring, of course, and like a better venue and stuff like that. Yeah, ICWS definitely feels like just, as I said, just another place to wrestle. I don't feel like it sort of has its own identity anymore compared to what it used to be.
Like, as I consider like a Ryan Tate and Alex Stone, a Delcanho, JD Flame, I consider them ICWS guys. But I consider Luke Monet, Jack Wallace as WCWA guys.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't compare them. You can't say they're ICWS guys, because they came in at the tail end. But I consider Ryan and Alex and all those guys still, Tim, Lowe, all them are ICWS guys. So like,
see, even some of those guys, I would consider WWA guys these days because they sort of did a lot more in WWA. I think I would probably just say myself, JD Flame, Zibby. They might be the only ones that I consider ICWS guys.
Yeah.
Maybe even yourself, sort of.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're XCW, really, but yeah, sort of compared to WWA, you're more an ICWS guy, I guess.
Yeah. So the following show are Seasons Beatings 2012. You and I finally, our paths cross again. We wrestled for the Hardcore Championship, and I'd said since day one, when I come back, I want to actually have the opportunity to just lose cleanly in a long, hard-fought match with Dan Zeplin.
Yeah.
DJ did not want you to win the Hardcore title. Do you
Really?
remember that?
Nope.
He kept saying to me, no, I don't want Dan to win the Hardcore title. No, I want
Okay.
Lowe to be the one to win the Hardcore title off you.
Yeah.
But at this stage, I'm having the feud with Lowe in WCWA.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well,
I
Lowe was
eventually-
really coming up at that stage, wasn't he?
yeah,
He was really improving quite quickly.
Yeah.
He was very popular. He was really into it at that stage.
yeah. But I just said to DJ, look, have Lowe beat Dan for the belt, okay? Because I want to put Dan over. I don't want the Hardcore title anymore.
Yeah.
I've done enough with that now.
Yeah.
And, I thought, finally I convinced him. He was like, oh, all right, do it then.
Yeah.
But he really didn't want you to win the Hardcore belt. I don't know why. I think he said, oh, he's won enough titles. And I was like, it doesn't matter. Get the belt off me now so I don't have to keep on with this Hardcore title reign.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It makes sense because there's all these new guys, and then, there's me who's won all the titles before and stuff.
Yeah.
So, the new guys do deserve a good run.
But I didn't think it would hurt,
Well, no, but...
And you can pass the torch to Lowe.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of looking at it, yeah.
Because either way, the torch was going to be passed to him. Whether it was me or you, would still be the same thing. But I thought that was a great match.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the match where I gave you a powerbomb off the base through a table on the outside.
Yeah.
I believe you thought I was just going to give you a normal powerbomb,
Yeah.
so it surprised you.
That is correct,
when
yeah. You called for a powerbomb, and I was like, yeah, right, yeah, so, go for it.
Because I think I said, are you sure? And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, and I
okay.
thought, I think at that moment I was like, does he mean through? No, I don't think he means through the table. And yeah, and then I'm up on your shoulders, my dick in your face, and you walk towards the table, and I'm slowly realizing, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm probably gonna take a pretty fucked up bump right now, eh?
I agreed to it, and I didn't realize what I was getting into.
Yeah, basically. Honestly, I would have taken that bump anyway, and I was happy to take it. But I just find it funny how, right at the moment before, I didn't realize that's what he was calling for.
Yeah.
Your cat just sneezed.
He's been sneezing all week.
Yeah. Oh, he's allergic to cats. Aside from that,
You right there, little mate?
he's really going for it.
Yeah. But yeah, from there.
Oh yeah. Actually, that I was just gonna say that that powerbomb through the table that screwed up my elbow for a long time.
Oh, did it?
Do you know that?
No, never knew.
Yeah. So.
Did you hit it against the wood?
Yeah. So the wooden like the frame of the table. So the ICWS tables are sort of a little bit skinny. So when you bump them, you wanted to keep your arms sort of in. You didn't want to bump like a normal bump where you put your arms straight out. But I bumped with my arms straight out, so my elbow basically landed on the part where the table legs were. So obviously the hardest part of the table. So my elbow, obviously, probably extended the wrong way, bent the wrong way. That was not fun. I think I lost feeling in my elbow during the match, like straight after.
Yeah.
Straight after the powerbomb.
I'll tell you what, I've got an elbow issue as well.
Yeah, you won't too much.
You know how I've had that knee issue?
Yeah.
From the suplex Alex Stone gave me over the top rope to win the Battlefield Brawl.
Yeah.
In one of my matches with him, I don't know what move he gave me, but I bumped weird on my elbow.
Yeah,
and
right.
since then, it still hurts.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. My
Alex Stone.
actually,
twice
my
now.
elbow. Sometimes when I'm walking, my elbow gets painful, and I have to sort of like stretch it and stuff. It just cracked, actually. You probably didn't hear it on the podcast here, but it just cracked.
But you've also got knee issues too, which I've got as well.
Which
knee is it?
My right knee. It's okay now, actually. I strapped it up for a while, and it seems to be okay at the moment.
If you put us two together, you got a healthy human being. But at this stage, we both
or a really unhealthy human being if you use the wrong parts.
Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about. Keep going. Go have a pee, and I'll keep talking. All right. So basically, Dan, I believe that this hardcore match we had at Seasons Beatings 2012 proved once again that you and I have that chemistry. We always had that chemistry from day one in ICWS, my debut match at Twisted Metal. The following show, another great match. The following show after that with Chris Zeplin involved as well. Always great chemistry between you and I. And then, we're talking about mid-2010 here. We're pushing forward a year and a half later, waiting all this time to wrestle each other again, and finally we do. And once again, I think we, had one of the best matches on the show, without a doubt in my mind. And I was proud to be able to finally lay down flat and just have you pin me and be like, there you go. Dan gets the clean win over all Ast on Crude. So from there, I believe you wrestled low in a non-title match at the ICWS In Your Yard tapings. Now, I want to get a bit of an insight from you about the genesis of the idea of the In Your Yard tapings, where we would tape episodes. We would tape 2 episodes in one show, and then we do it again and again, and then we get to Twisted Metal, and then it would happen again, and the second season of the In Your Yard tapings to Seasons Beatings. Whose idea was that?
I think...
Because I really liked the idea. It was like a chance to change the format.
Yeah, I think that's what we wanted, really, a change of format, because obviously WWA was booming by then. I think we wanted something to sort of separate ourselves.
Yeah.
We wanted to do something more just for fun, rather than sort of the serious storylines, the serious characters, stuff like that.
Because you had things like Perfect Match with Alex Stone trying to find his perfect tag team partner and stuff.
We were trying to base more on just fun, a bit of silliness, just more like friends hanging out rather than really serious storylines and shows. It would have been great to
see where that could have gone.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long because ICWS sort of took a break as a whole. Which
I guess was more of a Chris Zeplin issue, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, WWA was quickly became the main thing once everyone had sort of crossed over there. Everyone loved it, obviously, because of the ring and the better venue and stuff, as I mentioned before.
Because we were doing it twice a month at that stage.
And it was very regular. So ICWS, it was... I think at the time it would have been a bit too much for people, because before that we'd only ever been doing one show a month, and now within one federation we were doing one show every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think ICWS on top of that as well, it just would have been too much. And in combination with Chris Zeplin losing his passion, and because he was the one who sort of mostly organised events. Mm-hmm. And booked all the storylines and everything. So those two things coming together sort of led to the huge break in ICWS.
Yeah, well, I will say this about the In Your Yard idea. I know that there were a lot of people who were criticising the idea.
Yeah,
but I honestly believe that would have worked because
I think so too.
With the format model of WCWA of the once a month shows like ICWS have been doing for the previous few years, I think ICWS needed to change the game a little bit and be different.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So if you do the tapings, you do 2 tapings in one show, then you don't have to have another show for another 2 months.
Yeah, that's it.
Because that would make up for it, basically. And I believe it would have worked, and with the tapings building up to the big matches that would happen at Twisted Metal, I think it would have been a really cool thing, but...
Yeah, I think it had a lot of good potential, but it's sort of everything working against it. It just sort of fell apart.
And those In Your Yard tapings were very, very good for what we were heading with the future. With Chaos beating Mikanos for the heavyweight title, and you get to see me and Clint Marshall in the main event of the first episode, in a match people never thought they would ever see, which was I thought it was a decent match. But to see Kaos and Mikanos also battle for the title, and Kaos have his time as heavyweight champion and your hardcore champion, and SPWS were on top.
Well, the wrestling was still the same. We were still doing top quality wrestling in those episodes that we did do.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically just the format that we were presenting it in that was different.
Yeah.
Trying to make it a bit more fun and having to do a few less shows so that people weren't sort of overloaded with the shows from both companies.
And separate yourselves from WCWA.
Yeah, right? And to separate as well.
Did you ever really talk to your brother about the situation about, what's going on? Like, because I know you and Chris have never been really, like, close, like your brothers, but you don't really spend too much time hanging out with one another. But did you ever talk to him and say, what's going on? Do you not really want to do this anymore?
I think there was a brief conversation or two, but I just sort of knew. Because he was very much in getting into his girlfriend. He was, I think he was just finishing
just drowning
uni.
in pussy, just loving it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think he was just finishing uni around that time, and scoring his first job and stuff like that. So obviously that's very important compared to
he'd had
backyard
enough of the
wrestling.
bullshit of dealing with people.
That was probably a definite factor as well. Yeah. But just life got ahead. Obviously much more important things. He'd been doing it for years, so I don't blame him.
There comes a time,
Yeah, I don't blame him at all.
Neither do I. At the time I was probably a bit like, oh come on, what happened to Chris Zeplin? He was the most dedicated that I've ever known.
Yeah, and to start with, now that I think about it, the amazing thing is to start with, he never really watched wrestling. I don't know if he'd seen many shows in his life.
I think he used to go with your dad to EPW a lot.
Oh yeah, he used to go to the EPW shows,
but during that time, I remember talking to your dad about it and him saying, it got to a point where I was just going to the shows by myself because Dan was doing camera work and stuff. So.
Yeah.
And your dad still goes to the shows.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah. But I don't know. Life just came up, and I don't think he was ever really too into wrestling itself. It was more just a social aspect, and I think he enjoyed managing it. He's just that sort of person that enjoys that sort of thing.
He's a great booker.
Yeah, he knew how to tell the stories.
He knew how to intertwine them as well, and make everything on the show seem meaningful.
Yeah, a good writer.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a shame. But anyway, ICWS did return mid that year for Twisted Metal 6. You wrestled Low. And he overcame the odds against SPWS's interferences and powerbombed you through a table with thumbtacks on it to win the championship over you. That was a fucking great match.
Yeah.
And it really made up for the In Your Yard match you had with him. I believe it was quite disappointing, that match, that you both were very disappointed with how you went. But that hardcore match was awesome, and you got to pass that torch to Low finally.
Yeah. One of my main memory from that match is that thumbtack table was probably one of the most, if not the most, painful bumps I've ever taken in backyard wrestling.
And he would have got on top of you to pin you, and he's pressing you against all the tacks.
Yeah, the fat cunt. But that out of all the fucking whatever barbed wire, light tubes, everything, the thumbtack table was probably one of the most painful bumps I've ever taken.
Yeah. So moving forward, we don't do any ICWS until the following January in 2014. You're supposed to wrestle Rusty at this show. So we have the whole show. The day before we have Resolution, where I wrestle Rusty, and the whole idea was that Rusty would get to have his death match with you at your house. So take us through that, the planning with Rusty, getting the opportunity to meet him and all that. I guess, at this stage you never would have thought that you'd get Rusty in the Z Arena. Oh man, let alone at his request. That was, he requested that match. I was absolutely stoked that he wanted to have a match with me, let alone a death match with me. Because we'd had discussions, there were several ideas he was throwing around. And I said, look, it'd be great for you to do this backyard TV match with DJ on the Friday night, wrestle me on the Saturday, and wrestle Dan Zeplin on the Sunday, because it would mean the most of the three of us to actually get to wrestle you.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So going way back, I had followed Rusty since I was about 13 years old. He was one of the dudes that we admired when we were wrestling on the shitty couch cushions. And him becoming a reality, actually coming over to us and doing a show with us, was absolutely nuts.
Well, it blew my mind that he was actually like, hey man, I've got this money, I can pay for a flight and come to wrestle.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh shit, I'm supposed to wrestle Alex at the show, but I don't care. I get to wrestle Rusty. Like,
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was absolutely
he's
crazy.
He's going to be in the Hall of Fame, the first class of Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
going to come over for it. So.
Yeah.
Oh man, just what a moment.
Yeah, because at the time as well, I was one of the most hardcore fellas in the WCWA.
Yeah.
Using a lot of light tubes, barbed wire, and stuff like that. Had the famous match with Antilochus, which was, that wasn't match of the year, was it? But it was up there.
It was pretty close.
Yeah,
it was in the nominees for match of the year.
Yeah. So yeah, he had seen a lot of my hardcore stuff, and apparently he was really keen for a hardcore match with me, and I was absolutely stoked because he had been in Tournament of Hate, which I had looked up to.
Check it out on YouTube, everyone.
Yeah, Tournament of Hate, absolutely
Taylor.
crazy.
Taylor, check it to search Tournament of Hate.
Yeah, Taylor. Who's Taylor?
Taylor's the guy from over east.
Oh yeah, Taylor. So yeah, I was absolutely stoked at that.
But
unfortunately, it did not come to be.
So you hit, what happens? The match starts. You hit him with a light tube.
The match starts. He makes his entrance. I was gonna say I'm nervous as fuck, but I wasn't.
This was going to be the most brutal match ever, basically.
Yeah, basically.
We went to Bunnings and bought a staple gun and all this stuff.
It was planned to be the most brutal match WA had ever seen, basically. As Carl just said, we went to Bunnings. We bought staple guns, shitloads of light tubes, bins. I think we bought a ladder even. We just went there with like $50 each, and we just bought whatever we could, basically. And it was, as I said, planned to be probably the most brutal match WA had ever seen. Because what else are we going to do? It's Rusty from Tournament of Hate, which is sort of what a lot of people associated him with.
And he did win that tournament once.
Yeah, absolutely. And then me, who was, at the time, probably the most, or one of the
basically
most hardcore dudes.
Basically the godfather of the deathmatch in WA Yardie.
Yeah, take that, Antilochus. So we both made our entrances. To start the match, I hit him in the dick with a light tube. Go smash, of course. And then we hear, "Oi, what are you fucking doing? Fucking whatever," from our next door neighbour.
Who we've never had a problem with.
We've never had a problem with. He's gone absolutely off his nut at us. I don't know if he was drunk, on drugs or something, or whatever.
Sounded like something to do with being a crackhead, and they thought that we had smashed their window when basically all that happened was the end of the light tube hit the fence.
Yeah. They were going absolutely nuts, swearing at us. My parents were home, they were watching the match, and they, went over, popped their head over the fence, and they're like, "It's cool, we're the parents, we're here, it's not, stupid teenagers, whatever, it's supervised," and they just kept going nuts.
Your dad, who's like the nicest man in the world.
Yeah, they were swearing and, just going absolutely nuts, claiming that a piece of light tube hit them, which is
untrue.
Pretty much impossible. Yeah, we watched the footage back and everything, and there's pretty much no way that could be true.
Because I was trying to figure it out at the time. I was like, "There's no way," because I saw where the end of that light tube went and it hit the fence.
It just wasn't possible.
It didn't go over the fence and it didn't break their window. It didn't do anything.
They were claiming we broke their window. Apparently, a piece of the light tube almost hit the man's wife. Crap like
bullshit.
that. All those claims are absolutely
untrue. You did
untrue.
get them back. How did you get them back?
We won't go into that because that's legal.
Okay.
But the funny thing is about that is the man over the back, he was always supportive of our wrestling before then. he had heard us doing it before, and whenever people do suplexes or jump off the ladder and everything, he would see them sort of pop over the edge of the fence.
Okay, yeah.
And my parents had talked to him before, and he said, "Oh, that's cool. Kids having fun and everything like that." But yeah, this one day where we had Rusty over on the East Coast, he just that was the night to go crazy apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. His defense, maybe we went too far, smashing shit, and he thought something weird was going on. I don't know. It's, that said, it's none of his business.
Everyone's saying that could have gone down in history as one of the most epic things.
And for the record, it was nothing illegal. We're doing it on our own property. Everyone knows what they're in for. Everyone's, they know they're there for backyard wrestling. It's not like anyone's doing it against their will or anything. Everything's absolutely legal. He was saying the guy was yelling. He was saying he wanted to call the cops and shit like that.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So during the yelling, me and Rusty just held a rest spot. I think he had me in a headlock or vice versa. For just sort of waiting for people to try and calm the dude down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't happen. So we just stopped. I suggested that we might be able to do the event at Jack's because I think it was school holidays.
Yeah, and we were thinking of the Tuesday night. We were going to, not the Monday, the Tuesday, we were going to just go there, everyone go there just to watch this one match.
Just so we could do this death match that Rusty basically came over for.
Yeah. But he was sick.
Yeah, Rusty came down sick, unfortunately, on the Monday, I think.
But he did say, look, you know what, I will come back. I will be over again.
Yeah, so one day you will hopefully see that if I'm not too old by then.
I'm trying to line it up.
I know.
I want to do it.
Trying to make it happen. If I'm not too old by the time he can get back over here.
Yeah. So that'll be hopefully something in future we can worry about.
I don't know how many rough hardcore matches I've got left in me compared to the ones that I used to do, but I'm sure I can pull out all the stops for Rusty if he can manage to fly back over here.
Fantastic. Well, let's hope. Okay, from there. ICWS, obviously, because of the situation with the neighbour, your parents aren't too keen to do any more shows there, so we kind of had the base still at your place, and we don't really do anything with it for just over a year or so.
And the thing about that is, my dad had just built pretty much a brand new base. He had just got brand new wood. He paid for it all himself. He didn't ask for any money from any of the boys or anything. He put all the labour into it. He built it himself. The only thing from the old base were the tyres, I think. So all the wood was new, and the padding was the same padding, of course.
Brilliant.
So he'd spent money and a lot of time getting this base built for us, and he specially built it so it would be able to take apart and transportable and stuff. But yeah, we didn't use this base for what, about a year?
Well, we're talking about January 2014, so when did ICWS come back?
I don't know. March or something, the next year?
Yeah, it must have been just over maybe a little bit long. No, just over a year.
Yeah, a bit over a year, I think.
Because of the problems with WCW at the time.
Yeah, I was really disappointed in that, because the main thing was my mother didn't really want the shows happening. I think she was just...
your dad was cool with it.
I think my dad was pretty happy with it. Pretty happy to go ahead as we always had. But my mum was not too keen, which was understandable. I think she was just sort of over it, as well as the fact with the neighbour. She didn't want to cause any more trouble with that. Which I didn't really agree with, but I totally understood, of course.
I remember this was during the period where it was pints at the Basie with Zeplin and Crude.
Yeah.
It may be a bit of Ryan Tate and a bit of Dark Ice here and there.
Every few days we'd be down at the pub.
Yeah, and we'd be talking about, and I say to you,
got to get it happening.
We got to get it coming back, man. It'd be great to have it to come back. Well, what's it going to take? Oh, well, my dad's keen, but my mum's not. And I remember you specifically saying, my mum and dad are very happy with their lives of just at home at night on their laptops on the couches doing their thing. in their same routine.
Yeah,
every week.
yeah, they don't really want this interruption of 25 odd people coming into their yard and causing a big ruckus and smashing shit and stuff, which is totally understandable, of course.
But I think we're always very respectful at the Z Arena, weren't we?
Oh yeah. Well, most people. But yeah, as I sort of said before, the thing I was mostly disappointed in was that my dad spent all that time and all that money building this for us. And then we had that one incident with the neighbour that sort of caused us to have a super long break. And I was just as disappointed that all my dad's work had gone to waste.
Yeah. And I really think we should really take the time to appreciate the efforts of your dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good old Rob. He's
I don't think he got enough appreciation.
Yeah,
I mean,
making the tables from scratch.
Yeah, he knew that we always appreciated it, but we never sort of did anything for him.
Yeah, and because I only didn't just realise until the last ICWS event that we had, I didn't realise how much effort went into actually building the base.
Oh, yeah.
And to know that he would say to you, oh, well, I've got to build the base tomorrow, then you told him, well, wake me up when you want me to help you out.
Yeah.
But then you'd wake up and he'd already had done it by himself.
Yeah, I'd tell him to help me to build the base, because it's a two-man job, really. But then, as Crude just said, I would wake up, or, by midday, by the time I'm actually awake, and he'd already done it.
Yeah,
and I was you've done the base already. Wow.
Whereas
okay. I was going to help you, but you've done it now.
It took us several people to build that base the other.
Yeah, these days no one can figure it out. It takes them 2 hours to put the bloody base up.
And it just blew my mind that this man took all that time and really never ended up really showing the appreciation that we should have. But hopefully we can one day, and we should be inviting him to future shows. I think to come along and watch the shows. I think Rob would come along, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think he'd enjoy that.
Yeah. All right, so let's get back into what's going on with the ICWS. Essentially, there's some problems with WZWA. It looks like there's a chance it might not continue, but we have the option now of ICWS because DJ has convinced his parents that we'll be taking it to his place. So we have...
After a lot of convincing.
Yes, so we have...
I remember I was... Well, I've always been good friends with DJ, but I was hanging out with him a lot at that point. So I was present for a lot of the conversations with his parents, and it took quite a lot of convincing.
Yeah. But, how long were discussions going on with you and DJ? Was he really was there a lot of dialogue between you and him about, reforming the new ICWS and you being just a bigger part of being in charge of it as he is?
Not a whole lot. The main focus was him trying to convince his parents, really, just so we could, the fact that shows could happen.
From what I gathered, it was going to be you and him in charge.
Oh, yeah. Me and him...
So why did that go away?
Well, yeah, me and him were going to be in charge. It's still... Well, no, it's not really like that anymore, is it? It's basically just him. Basically...
But what happened? There was a stage where it was going to be you two, then all of a sudden it was just him.
Yeah, well, the main thing to organise, really, is the booking. And that's not really my side of things. I've never been into booking, and honestly, I'm not too interested in learning it. I don't really have the time for it and that sort of stuff. And aside from that, actually organising shows to take place, it's at his house now, so it's his responsibility to check with his family and stuff like that. So, there's not really much for me to do. I'm happy with that. It's not like there's nothing for me to do. It's I'm happy for him to be running it as he wants to, and I'm just enjoying rocking up to shows and just watching at the moment, hanging out with everyone.
So we get to the first show, ICWS Thug Life. You wrestled Dark Ice for the number 1 contendership for the heavyweight title. Cracker of a match, really.
I love
great
that match.
But
I was surprised by that match, actually.
During the day, you weren't too keen to wrestle, but DJ finally convinced you, please, man, you got to do this. And
he
ended up doing it. It was a great match. Once again, you and I put on a great match.
Yeah, always. I don't know why I wasn't keen, because I knew I was wrestling Ice.
Yeah.
But yeah, just sort of a lot of things going on. Yeah, so wrestling is just taking a back seat. So yeah, I think on the day I wasn't feeling it. You know, sometimes you just have the days where you don't really feel like having a match, getting beat up and doing flips and shit. So yeah, I wasn't too keen on it that morning. I don't think I had a good sleep, and the usual excuses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, DJ really wanted me to do it. I was like, yeah, man, if you need me to do it, I'll do it. And fuck, I'm so glad I did, because if I remember correctly, that's my last match at this point right now.
Yes, it is.
And that was
what I want to bring up.
Yeah, and that was a hell of a match. I loved that match with Ice. It was short, but we did everything I wanted to do, which is a significant thing for me, because with almost every match now, I forget 90% of the spots and the moves that I want to do. But yeah, with Ice, that chemistry just came straight back from the 2010, 2011 sort of era, and we fucking killed it. Amazing match. We did everything we wanted to do. Everything was solid. Really proud of that one.
Cool. So they do have a little mini show, which not many of us did go to. All about that base. It was a tournament to challenge Ryan Tate for the new junior heavyweight title. I wasn't there, so we won't really talk about that because neither of us were there. So.
Yeah, fuck. I was there.
Were you?
I think I left.
Oh, you were a referee. I remember
I was referee.
Oversized referee shirt.
Yeah.
It's like
that was the Schwa referee.
Oh, really?
Shirt, actually.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because Ryan had worked at Schwa as a referee recently before that show.
Yeah, well, that show was infamous for the Tim Justice quick return.
Oh, yeah, that was a bit rubbish, wasn't it?
He came back and then he's gone again.
Yeah, I don't know if he was stoned or something that day, but yeah, he thought it was a good idea just to suddenly come back on this tiny little show, and then now he's just gone again.
Yeah.
So why did he come back? It was...
Well, he should have thought about it beforehand,
Yeah, I mean, he could have had an epic return.
Yeah, he could have had a great feud with Luke. And...
Yeah, he could have done great things, but he just decided to rock up one day and, oh yeah, I'll have a match. That's what it seemed like, at least.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll come back again, but...
Well, he just needs to realise, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
Just get over it. Deal with the heat, it'll happen. I dealt with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so from there, what was that show called? The show where
ICWS show?
I wrestled Jack Wallace. But initially, ICWS. I was supposed to wrestle you.
It was
for the new number one contendership.
The one for that fellow who died.
Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
The Dream. ICWS The Dream.
Yeah.
You were going to wrestle me. I know you had some knee issues at the time.
Yeah.
But it was going to be me and you. Then it was going to be me and... It's going to be like me and Blade. Then it changed to me and Deacon. And then it changed to me and Jack. So...
Classic DJ booking.
But like all those people weren't showing up. And, but you weren't able to do the match. Have you lost interest? Do you not want to wrestle for ICWS anymore?
No, I do. I am actually genuinely interested in still wrestling. That day my knee was actually playing up. Well, not just that day, but those few months around it. I don't know what happened to my knee, but it just over the course of a few days it started becoming sore, and then it was sore for a few months, and then I eventually started strapping it up all the time, and it seems to be good now. Just over about 2 weeks ago, started to come good again.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, no, it generally wasn't an excuse or anything to not wrestle. My knee was I was worried about it actually. I was hoping I wouldn't have to have surgery or any bullshit like that.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't want to aggravate it with any wrestling because that's most likely what caused it, to be honest.
Has there been much dialogue with you and DJ about the future of Dan Zeplin and ICWS?
Well, the last time I talked to him regarding that, I basically told him to book me show by show. Because I don't know, I can't really commit to the long-term stuff at the moment. mostly due to work, I would say, because my work can pop up, the day before. So
you never know where you'll be needed.
Yeah. It's also it is sort of my passion. I'm still very passionate about ICWS and WWA, but I don't know. I just feel like I can't really commit to a full schedule anymore. It's almost like it's not like I'm too old for it. It's not like, I'm too old for that. That's the kids. It's not like that. It's just I feel like I've done it for a long time, and I just don't want to do it every single month anymore.
Yeah.
It's just a bit full on.
Fair enough. All right. So, but the one thing I did want to say was, you have been at the ICWS show, so you've still been there, which has been cool. I still think, even if you're just there, DJ should find a way to just at least get you to have an appearance on the show, whether you...
Yeah.
I don't know, I just think the last two shows that you've been at, which was The Dream and Doors of Perception, I think you should have found a way. I don't know how. I don't know what you could have done, but...
Honestly, I don't know either.
It's like a special guest referee role or something like that, just to have you... I mean, even though you've pretty much refereed most of the show, but to have you as a special guest referee for something, just to have the Dan Zeplin character there, people still unsure with where the character's going, but at least the character makes an appearance. At least on the recaps, you can see Dan Zeplin's still involved and not just sit in the background or refereeing a match. But that's just my thoughts, but...
I would like to stay constantly involved. I definitely don't want to leave backyard wrestling whatsoever. It's just that I can't commit to a full schedule of wrestling, but I'm totally happy to do a couple of promos over 2 shows and then wrestle on the 3rd show, stuff like that.
Yeah, even cutting a promo, that would be something.
Yeah.
At least to have you involved. It just once again, it's just DJ should just think on his feet sometimes a little bit. Like, because if I've got someone at a show like FaZe was at the last WCWS show, I thought on my feet and I thought, come out and cut a promo. You can't wrestle yet because of your knee. You just had surgery, but come out and cut a promo. Get you involved on the show so we still remember who Phaser is and get that character on the show to build to whatever he's going to do next. Same thing with you and ICWS, and with the situation that we're at now, we have the opportunity to possibly see Dan Zeplin versus Wicked Nick James for the first time in years. We could also see Dan Zeplin versus Sadistic, who was your first ever opponent.
Now that would be an interesting one.
You could wrestle him for the first time since your first ever match. That would be an interesting matchup.
That would be
interesting. DJ, if you're listening, think about that for the future. It would also maybe be cool to see you versus DJ at some point, Get you to have a couple of old school matches with some of the
We've always had great matches on the base.
Yeah.
We had a match in WWA which was not as great.
Lana's Ass 2013 or 14.
So perhaps the base is our lucky charm. Maybe we need to get back on that base.
Yeah, so, a couple of potential matches there. I mean, I know I would love to have the chance to wrestle you again, but maybe that might be in WCWA. Who knows? But we'll get to WCWA when you get to it. But anyway, Dan, that was your ICWS career. Hopefully more in the future for you. Certainly at the bigger shows like a Halloween Hell or a Seasons Beatings or a Twisted Metal. Be good to see you there. ICWS Dan Zeplin, we got through it all. It's 2 in the morning now, so...
Really? Jesus Christ.
You've done a good job, I think.
Yeah. We went beyond your girlfriend's rules of finishing at midnight, didn't we?
Yeah, well, that was when we first finished the first part.
We didn't start till like 11:30, to be fair.
No, to be fair. So that's your ICWS career, man. We discussed it all in full. Not just what you've done, but everyone else that was involved.
So something to mention, actually. We just called DJ on the phone between the parts that we did. One of the first things he mentioned is, did you mention in the podcast that you made ice bleed with a light tube? That is a significant thing.
We kind of didn't really get onto that, did we?
Yeah, I didn't really talk. We mentioned the light tubes.
You mentioned the light tube, but you didn't mention what happened.
I'll just mention it now, even though it's way out of the timeline we were up to. He's still got a scar from where I hit him with a light tube. Basically, the first time, I think it was the first show we used light tubes on.
Yes.
It was after Chaos's and Ice's deathmatch, SPWS deathmatch.
Yeah.
I was coming out because I was not happy with SPWS invading the ICWS, and I had a light tube that I was planned to hit ice with on the back, but I'd never used one before, so I didn't know how hard I had to swing it to smash it. I didn't know if how hard they were,
Yeah.
So I basically swung it almost full force, and it absolutely ripped his arm open, and he's still got the scar to this day. Blood was trickling down his arm for half the day after that. It was very yardy. It was such a backyard wrestling sight.
And speaking of moments like that we forgot to mention, Rob Zeplin pushing me.
Oh, classic.
We forgot to mention that.
Yeah, got me old dad involved in a match.
I was like, I want you, I'm nudging Chris to wrestle, and now I'm like, I want your dad to like get involved and shove me over at some stage. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool little spot to have Rob involved. But anyway, Dan, that was your ICWS career. Any lasting impressions, thoughts on your time with ICWS and what it means to you?
It means a whole lot. It basically shaped my... Is teenagehood a word? We're going to go with teenagehood.
Should we say adolescence?
It shaped my teenage years. I can't pronounce adolescence. Oh, there we go. But yeah, I would say it's something that shaped me as a person, I guess, because the people I've met through it, stuff like that. I won't get all sappy, but yeah, definitely a life-changing thing. Those were probably the most influential years within that as well. So yeah, it was good to recap.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Dan.
No problem. We're shaking hands right now.
We do the handshake.
Yeah, we're shaking hands right now.
My hand's out here, but you're not shaking it.
Now I'm shaking.
We do the handshake.
Can you
thank
confirm?
You very much for the interview,
we just
Dan.
shook hands. Can you confirm that?
I've just confirmed it. Yes, fantastic.
We shook hands.
And you know what? We will do the WCWS section tomorrow when we wake up.
Okay, excellent.
So we'll wake up. Maybe we'll have a nice, disgusting coffee.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee. Do you have tea?
Don't drink coffee. I've got all the
it's
tea
not
in
Lipton,
the world,
is it?
man. I've got all the tea in the world.
Is it Lipton?
I don't believe it's Lipton. We've got several different versions.
All right, good.
You could have jasmine tea. You could have English breakfast. You could have
Irish
Irish
breakfast.
breakfast.
That's the one, man.
English breakfast.
That's one.
Okay.
And good old Paul Martin.
I think it might be Dilma. Might be Dilma.
Oh, that was good.
Dilma's good. Dilma's good. Dilma or Tetley?
Tetley's alright. As long as it's not Lipton. Lipton's terrible.
Lipton can suck a dick.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the GBYWN Australia podcast, the ICWS career of Dan Zeplin, part 2. We will get with part 3 tomorrow when we wake up, hopefully hungover. Still a little bit of the morning to go. Probably won't drink too much more. But we've done good. Thank you, Dan.
No problem.
And thank you for listening.
Thank
to
you.
The GBYWN Australia podcast.
Yeah, cheers.
See you next time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
No, I get the last. I get the last word, cunt.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, no worries.